I see Mexico.
Just wanted to say that I didn't see Mexico on the list, but I've informed the Secretariat that we will increase our contribution for 2018. We're currently just running paperwork with our Ministry of Foreign Affairs, but it will be done this year.
See Germany.
Thank you, Chairman. We just have an issue about the 2019 budget regarding the travel expenses. The indicative budget for travel will increase by 30,000 Swiss francs for the Secretariat staff mission travel, in comparison from 170,000 Swiss francs in 2018 to 200,000 Swiss francs for 2019. The indicative budget for travel of the staff mission is above 240,000 Swiss francs for 2020 onwards. So there seems to be a significant increase in the financing of Secretariat staff travel, while on Monday in the GEO Program Board we heard that the Secretariat seems to have significant budget problems in traveling outside Geneva to support the GEO Program Board meetings. We would like to have an answer on this.
So we note those, and we're going to be taking a few before we ask for responses. Yes, you can go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Sweden has already for many years contributed to the GEO Trust Fund, and we will continue to do so. And therefore, we are happy to announce that we, for 2019, will stay with the level of contribution that we provided for 2018, meaning 110 kilo Swiss franc, which anyhow is far above actually our indicative scale. Thank you.
Okay, then we take Italy.
Thank you, Chair. So I would like to follow up the comment I made in the previous session about the work program, in which I flagged a little bit of mismatch between the plans for, let's take the example of the GEOS platform. So in the work program, we have a description of the activities. We hear from the director that there is this other activities to try to understand to which direction we should move to modify and improve it. There are all the activities of this expert advisory group to be followed and to be synthesized, while on the budget document we see that there is no resource allocated by the Secretariat to at least monitor, but even drive all these kind of activities. And in particular, what is, in my case, is strange, there is not even a position that is considered void for the time being because of budget constraints. So the position for GEOS platform has been cancelled for 2019. I would like to add some comment and try to reconcile the description of the activities and the resources put by the Secretariat before to approve the budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Australia.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to split my comments. First I'll speak as Australia and then I'll speak as Budget Working Group member, if that's acceptable, to answer at least a couple of the comments that have been made. So on behalf of Australia, first, I would like to pledge that Australia will contribute 170,000 Australian dollars to the Trust Fund for 2019. This is our 100% contribution, and that we also are comfortable, of course, with the report from the Budget Working Group. So now, speaking as the Budget Working Group, and to answer hopefully Germany's concerns, the reason for the increase in travel in the Secretariat and the staff mission travel is actually reflecting the fact that we had cut very significantly into the travel that was allocated to the Secretariat in order to manage the low income over the past years. This is really returning it back to a more stable solution. So it would be entirely legitimate for you to discuss with the Secretariat those things that have not been able to be supported through travel that may then be able to under a more liberal budget situation. The forward years really reflect the increasing costs associated with travel rather than a fundamental increase. But it's about gradual retreat from the deep cuts that had to be made to address the shortfalls that we've had over the last years in the fundamental budget for GEO.
China.
Thank me, Mr. Chair. Through the joint efforts of the Budget Working Group, BWG, and the Secretariat, GEO has made good arrangements for the 2019 GEO Trust Fund budget. China will also strive for more contribution to GEO. For the upcoming year, we will try to mobilize other resources for Asia-Oceania region activity and ensure that all the financial contributions from China will be put into the pool of the trust fund, which is directly used by the Secretariat. Thank you.
Okay, Japan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Japan is prepared to promptly limit as much of the contribution as it can for the budget for the coming fiscal 2019 years. In addition to the contribution continuously of certain level of amount of the trust fund, which was about 370,000 Swiss francs to GEO, including the budget for the GEO's Asia Pacific Symposium in 2018. Japan has seconded a specialist to the GEO Secretariat and provided a part of the necessary resources for the operational maintenance of the Secretariat. It's very meaningful that many members, including Japan, sympathize with the activities of GEO and continue to contribute toward GEO. Through fruitful discussion at this GEO Week, we understand that expectation that our society brings to GEO is increasing more than ever. Due to the proper continuation of GEO's diversifying activities, Japan continuously contributes to GEO in various kinds of ways for the modern and the next generation global citizen. Thank you.
I'll try to take some of your questions. We are expecting an increase in travel money for 2019 linked to the additional cost of having a ministerial and a plenary in Australia. So some of the reasons for having increase of the budget and more significant reasons have to do with the ministerial being held in Australia, which for us is a great honor, but of course carries a budget, cost. As for some of the issues related to staff, we have tried, as a Secretariat Director, it is my duty to allocate the staff in a way which is best fit to the priorities of GEO. So we have been asked by the GEO work program coordinators, the program board, to take a more careful look at each of the activities being done at the work program. And this has required a change in a reallocation in the budget, in the staff. so that we are able to fulfill this task given us by the program board in the best way possible. And the program board is very happy with this result. It has clearly stated this was important. This was also mentioned to EXCOM in the first meeting we had here in Kyoto, which means that the decision to increase the support to the program board is taken as something positive to the whole GEO governance structure. I think I'm trying to get there is an issue about the 2020 budget. I'd like Patricia.
No, I think Stuart actually responded that we did reduce a lot on the travel expenditure when we had less money. It's one of the expenditure items where we do have a bit of elasticity. Staff costs are fixed, the facility costs are fixed, and so when less money comes in, travel will be adversely affected. So the increase is actually just bringing it back to a level than where it was before. It also is based on all staffing positions being fulfilled, so there will be so that is another reason why we put that in the budget so that there is a travel allocation for each of the positions.
And furthermore, based on the request by the program board, we have allocated resources for travel of program board members from the Global South who could otherwise not be present at the program board meetings, which again shows in the budget. As director, one of the decisions I took is to have a travel plan where we discuss internally exactly what travels are. And of course, I had to take decisions of cutting here, cutting there, to ensure that we only do as much travel as necessary. So we only reply and take part on a fraction of the invitations we have to work, to take part in symposia, workshops, and visits worldwide. We have been trying to be cautious in the use of the trust fund money because it's your money, and we have to be very cautious in the use that we do it and only allocate it for travel when it's strictly necessary.
Okay, thank you so much. I think the most critical thing is to just make sure that the tightening of the belts that we had when we were in difficult times, we're not out of that yet. We might be seeing signs of improvements in terms of commitments and some contributions. But we think it's important to really continue to say these travels are not necessarily an opening of the floodgates, but they really are very much linked. For example, the spike next year with the preparations for the ministerial. So we need to just make sure that the discipline in terms of tightening of our belts continues. So we have had the presentations, and I just want to then move with all the explanations that are given to do the approval of the finances and the budget. So I take it that we approve those two documents, which takes us to the next item on our program, which is the update of the GEO rules and procedures. This is going to be presented for decision as well, and somebody is going to help me read through this.
So it's open. So this is just what we're presenting on the screen is the change that was requested yesterday by Italy that was not in the document. As we are progressing with the work of the subgroup on the associate category, this is a presentation of the rules of procedure which will be finally completed after the work of that subgroup. I hope I've understood that properly. So this that we're presenting you today is just changed from the document presented in the documents published. So if you could just scroll down, there is a slight change at the bottom of this. Thank you. So we just wanted your agreement that this may be adopted, this for the regional groups on Earth observations.
So the text which is in bold, based on the discussions we've had on the regional GEO, and I think the concurrence of Italy will be quite crucial, because I think the point regarding some of the text was coming from yourself. So if you, of course, I don't see any hand indicating otherwise. So that means we move on this one. Which then does the item, and as she's indicated, we will be working with the group that has been put together, which I'm going to be showing you now, people who have already indicated their willingness to participate. We have said when we announced in the morning that those who want to be part of the working group will have to contact Yana. So can we... Do we have that somewhere? Yeah. Okay. Yes, we are GEO, and we do acronyms. So GEO rules for association, for associate subgroups, GRAS. So yeah, Steve here is just reminding me that we need to be very careful about the type of grass that we're talking about. So we've got Japan represented by the two colleagues. We got France, we got the European Commission, we got the United States of America, we got Germany, we got China, we got Australia, we got Spain, Italy, we got South Africa. So it's 10. Okay. So I think that's probably a reasonable number in terms of, I see, yes.
I just want to,
Cospa, yeah.
when you're done, I'm waiting for your invitation for an intervention.
You're waiting for the invitation for? Oh, you want to make an intervention? Okay, that's fine. So these are the 10. These are the 10 that have raised their hand, right? These are the 10 that have spoken to you. Yes. So these are the names of the GRAS members, and we are hoping that it's going to be a very sober group, and then you can make an intervention.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I must have missed the round where the offers were made, but I did talk to a few people and suggested I would be willing to participate to that. I understood that participating organisations were open.
That's fine. So Yana is gonna. So, yeah. So the grass is probably growing. Yana is going to meet up with you to finalize this whole thing. So this is really the team that is going to provide the way forward. So we're going to be presenting next year in November. We're going to be then providing some work that would have been processed by the executive committee during the course of the year. Yes, I see more intervention. Yeah.
Thank you, Co-Chair. COSPAR is very pleased to see that at least one participating organization has volunteered. I'd like to have the 4 co-chairs and their associates consider finding some way to encourage several other participating organizations to participate, to have a greater balance within that subgroup. This is the way GEO has been operating since, actually, the beginning was 2003 with the first Earth Observation Summit, but officially it was in 2005, where the participating organizations were encouraged and actually accepted the challenge, and many times, to move GEO forward. And I think this is a very important item where some of the participating organizations, many of which who do not have huge resources, but will contribute if asked. So I think that this is a case where calling for volunteers is a very important first step, but I don't think should be the final step. I think it's I'm encouraging, or COSPAR is encouraging the co-chairs to find a way to encourage other participating organizations to contribute. Thank you very much.
That's fine. So, thanks. So that's noted. Although we need to also find a balance between having a group that is going to be small enough to be flexible than having a Titanic. So we do appreciate those comments. So we are making that open call that if you can really also get in touch with Yana, that will also help. But we also want the subgroup to be small enough to be able to do its work without having a mass meeting. Thank you. Look at the announcement pertaining to 2019 ministerial and the GEO plenary. I see Stuart has already started moving to the podium. Yes.
Not yet, but okay. Good. So just checking, Co-Chair, thank you. So I'd like to say a few words on behalf of our government, if possible, just to... Sorry, you've got the video over there. No, I don't need this. That's fine. Thank you. This is just to read. So, okay, sorry. So, colleagues, Senator the Honourable Matt Canavan, who's Australia's Minister for Resources in Northern Australia, has asked me to thank you for honouring us with the responsibility of hosting the first ministerial summit of the second decade of GEO. He's very excited that we'll have the opportunity to discuss the benefits of Earth observations can deliver to the global economy into the future. He also said the Australian government looks forward to welcoming you to our capital city, Canberra, and sharing the city's culture with you. We particularly look forward to inviting our Pacific Island neighbours to Canberra next year to engage with GEO. As our new Prime Minister, Scott Morrison MP, said in his first foreign policy speech just today, Australia will work more closely than ever with the Pacific Islands on those issues of greatest concern to them, including climate solutions and disaster resilience. This will be an exciting, strategic and hopefully fun summit, but there will be important work to do. It comes at a critical time for our community. Over the last 3 years, we've transformed and realigned ourselves to deliver on our new strategy. We're now structured as a community to tackle the biggest challenges facing our world: sustainable development, disaster risk reduction and climate change. But good structure is not enough. We know that our shared global challenges have increased in their urgency. The resources we have mobilised to date are not sufficient if our community is to play its role in tackling them. We must capitalise on this unique opportunity the Canberra Ministerial Summit presents to mobilise the new investment in the Earth observation systems, tools and communities that we need to deliver on our vision. Minister Canavan has asked me to assure you that he firmly believes that an investment in Earth observation is an investment in the development of our economies and ultimately in a better world, and that this is well understood throughout the Australian government. I know that our minister will deliver this message to your ministers if they attend. Now, a ministerial is not all about the ministers. We all need to make this case. We need to make the case for investment in Earth observations to the commercial sector, to financial institutions, to the philanthropy community and to other stakeholders. We will need contributions from all of these stakeholders to deliver on our strategy. To paraphrase the European Commission co-chair's opening remarks, to make our case, we need to show investors what we can do and show the impact that it has. So the work for the summit doesn't start 10 months from now, it starts today. We're honoured to have the chance to work with you to tell these stories and to show that an investment in the work of GEO is an investment in our economies and in creating a better world. So, pack your sunglasses. You're going to need them, right? And join us today on the road to Canberra. So can we have the video, please?
Australia, the world's oldest continent and living culture. The birthplace of Wi-Fi, the data cube, and some of the Earth's deadliest creatures. Innovation and the pioneering spirit run deep in the veins of our country, where local Indigenous knowledge comes together with cutting-edge technology. We are excited to invite the world to our country for the 2019 Group on Earth Observations Ministerial Summit. Known as the meeting place by the Ngunnawal people, the traditional custodians of the land. Australia is located at the heart of the Southeast Asia and South Pacific region. And we will be proud to bring together our neighbouring countries and the international community of Earth observation experts and decision makers. The speed of change in the world is clear, and in Canberra, we must embrace the opportunities this change creates to turn more of our ideas into decisions and actions, to secure new investments in the future of GEO. Investments through which we can step up our efforts to deliver on the strategy that was signed in Mexico City 3 years ago. So today, we challenge you to take action, advocate, engage, deliver, invest, so that in 1 year from now, our ministers see real world solutions that benefit our futures. Pack your sunglasses as we journey on the road to Canberra and the 2019 GEO Ministerial Summit.
See you all in Canberra.
Thank you, Stuart. We're looking forward to all that excitement. We want to believe that the promise of the nice things that we have seen there, you're going to keep. So we're not just going to be inside the auditorium somewhere. Thank you so much. We are now going to go back to show the slide on the slates for the ExCo for next year. So we had gone through the Americas. Now we're coming to Asia and Oceania, where we've got China, Australia, Japan, and South Korea. Now, what you're going to see there is that some names have got asterisks, right? And those are co-chairs, and you got double stars or asterisks on South Africa because of the lead co-chair roles. So, people, these are the representatives of various caucuses who are going to be at the executive committee. We encourage you to really be in touch with them. If you've got issues that you're going to raise, please just make sure that they don't wait for plenary. This is the structure that takes decision on issues and ventilate issues as given the mandate by plenary before, in between plenaries. So thank you so much. The next item is any other business. It's an item that is here because I think we've got a tradition of keeping it here, because I'm not necessarily a fan of this kind of an item, personally. So let's just see if we've got any other issues that people want to ventilate. And I don't see any. I'll move very quickly out of this one, so that I can get assistance now as we go to the next item, which is 9.7, where we're going to present to you the summary of the outcomes of the session. Doug is going to help us through that particular one. And this really just to make sure that we revisit and revive the memories of what this plenary has been about. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Konnichiwa. I hope you all are doing well. We're almost there. My task here is to take you through the last 2 days and just review what we've been doing. So I'll take you through each session, and we've tried to capture in a single sentence the essence of each of the opening remarks here. So next, State Minister Keiko Nagaoka told us that as global citizens, we should continuously take action to tackle global challenges with the support of Earth observations through greater data and knowledge sharing. And then in the opening remarks from the co-chairs, the co-chair from South Africa, Mboneni Mofe, said that with this plenary, we want to renew our commitment to a results-oriented Earth observation system of systems contributing to global challenges. And then the co-chair from China, Wei Huang, said that the GEO structure has improved considerably over 2018, making it a broader and more inclusive community, strengthening the GEO member base, increasing engagement with international organizations in the field, and promoted the GEO work program activities aiming at GEO engagement priorities. The co-chair from the European Commission, Patrick Child, said that GEO must demonstrate that it is actually delivering so that it is at the forefront of the minds of those in need of information for decision making. And then the co-chair from the United States, Stephen Volz, reminded us that GEO's greatest value is felt locally. So in order to succeed, GEO needs to engage with partners who ensure that while our observations are routine and global, the applications and services are locally relevant. Then we heard from the astronaut from JAXA, Kimiya Ui, and he told us that the Earth is our home. It is for everyone. Through Earth observations, we can make a better future for not only our humankind, but also for all species. I'm sure you all remember those beautiful images, and yet the onion skin thin shell of atmosphere that we have, and we must not let that deteriorate any further. Then GEO Secretariat Camara, Gilberto Camara, told us that time is not on our side. Earth observation data must be unearthed, released, and used now. Then moving on, we approved the agenda, we approved the draft report of the last GEO plenary, and then in the opening keynote from Miyami Mistori from the UN ISDR, she told us that decision makers need Earth observation data and geospatial information that is correct, easily available, and understandable to support the Sendai framework in order to protect the poor and most vulnerable of society. Then we had a session on a panel session on Earth observations in support of the Sustainable Development Goals. I'm not going to go through all of them. We've seen these already, but I think it is important to note that GEO is encouraged to work with several entities out there, UNGGIM in particular, for closer integration of Earth observations with statistical and other types of information. Similarly, in session 3, we had a panel discussion on Earth observations in support of the Paris Agreement. And again, you've seen these. There's nothing changed here. But GEO members, your national contribution to GEO is to strengthen the existing in situ observational capacities so that we can encourage them to provide FAIR, which stands for findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable, and open data. Then we moved on to session 4, where we talked about broadening engagement with stakeholders. We had presentations from each of the regional initiatives. So GEO-XV reminded us of how it is demonstrating that a broadening of engagement is happening across Asia-Oceania through a multi- and transdisciplinary capability being developed in a Mekong River Basin project. GEO-XV told us how it was delivering an integrated European contribution to GEOS through various activities such as incubation, specific Earth observation applications co-designed in association with end users, and open innovation partnerships. GEOS told us about collaborative frameworks where contributions from countries and GEO partners across that region are playing an essential role in helping its communities to understand local to global implications, anticipate effects, prepare for changes, and reduce the risk associated with decision-making in a changing environment. Then, lastly, we heard from AfriGEOS, which told us that AfriGEOS is an entry point for coordinated collaboration across Africa in key thematic areas, promoting equal partnerships with international institutions, agencies, donors, and funders for long-term sustainability of Earth observation programs across Africa. Next, we approved the recast role of the regional GEOs. We just saw the language pertaining to that in the update to the rules of procedure. We approved in principle the creation of a GEO associate category, bearing in mind that the executive committee is given the authority to resolve remaining issues of process, and that a subgroup has been formed. You've heard its name. It's called GRASS. I guess the grass is greener. I think that Yana Gevorgian might still be taking names until we absolutely close the plenary. Anyway, the subgroup is going to address open issues and then complete the changes to the rules of procedure to define the associates category, and this work should be completed 1 month prior to the 47th Executive Committee meeting in March 2019. Moving on to session 5, which was from this morning, we looked at aspects of the GEO work program. We heard from the GEO program board. Co-chair Osamu Ochai told us, in actual fact, a plea for GEO members and participating organizations to actively contribute to the development of the next 3-year work program, which will be covering the years 2020 to 2022. In the GEO highlights, we heard from GEO-GLAM, demonstrating how it's harnessing the power of Earth observations to drive forward informed, proactive policies and programs in support of stable agricultural markets and global food security. We heard from GEO-GLOWS how it is bringing together relevant disciplines necessary to create a holistic Earth system approach to provide actionable water resources information to regional, national, and local decision makers, such as the global stream flow forecast. We heard from the Global Observation System for Mercury, how it will support the Minamata Convention implementation plan through a Minamata knowledge platform for assessing costs and benefits of different policy scenarios that nations can adopt in order to achieve objectives of the risk reduction for human health and ecosystem services. And then we heard from the land degradation neutrality, which reminds us that SDG 15.3.1 is one of the few indicators that is relying on Earth observations as it reports to the SDG framework, and requests GEO members and participating organizations to support its steering committee and the 3 working groups. And again, in case you hadn't heard about it, there's a meeting tomorrow starting at 10 o'clock in room K where these issues will be discussed. Then we went on to approve the update of the GEO work program. The timing that was proposed for the midterm evaluation was approved, and the program board slate of nominations for the 2019 edition was also approved. In session 6, we heard 3 scientific talks. The first one from IASA, in which the message was that creating lasting impact on global policies with Earth observations is a process that requires large-scale investments today in Earth observation infrastructures, while benefits are going to only be realized, in many cases, only over the longer term. From Japan, we heard that through a variety of freely available satellite observation data and integrated information products, JAXA is focusing on environmental monitoring globally, and that includes sharing of technology with emerging countries. Then from Australia, we saw a demonstration of the Digital Earth African Cube. Plenary was informed about the robust science that is underpinning the operational products that are delivered through the Open Data Cube and planned for development with Digital Earth Africa. Session 7, we had another panel discussion on support of the Sendai framework. Again, this is text that you have already seen. And so there's, I guess the key point for me was number 3, that we need to fill in the gaps which exist in official statistics to help provide an overview of the status of policy implementation with these particular partners. Then we heard from the Secretariat Director, Gilberto Camara, on the future of GEO. He noted that there's a crowded landscape out there. GEO needs to find its niche. And GEO actually has a mandate that includes being an information technology enabler, and that should happen through GEOS. GEOS is transitioning from a metadata to a knowledge hub in order to fulfill that mandate. A solution for going global is to embrace the digital economy model that he demonstrated. And then GEO would also like to be considered as a trusted repository for authoritative, curated in situ data. And lastly was the call for proposals, which will be, I think, formally included on our website as of next week. Finally, the last session, the 2017 financial statements and audit report were approved. The GEO Trust Fund budget for 2019 was approved. The rules of procedure, the changes, including the proposals from Italy, were approved. And then we had the announcement of the lead co-chairs and slate of executive committee members for 2019. And then we had the announcement of the ministerial and GEO-XV plenary announcements, which again will be held in Canberra. You can see here the schedule of events. And under any other business, we didn't have any other business. So, Chair, we're at the end.
Thank you. And under session outcomes, that's what you've just done. So I just, before you sit down, just to see if we are all happy that this is a reflection of what has come out. So I see Franz.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Just a question for clarification. When, Douglas, when you say that the rules of procedure were approved, clearly it's not the document which was submitted which has been approved, it's only the changes related to the new regional GEO, and not the other rules related to associates, because this will be the work of the GRAS.
That's a correct reflection. What you're saying, it needs to be corrected as such, yes. Okay, so thanks. That's really it. Now we are going to. We have actually come to an end of this plenary. We are going to be getting closing remarks, and as we do that, I'm also going to kindly request the Japan GEO principal to join us, and we're going to take a statement starting from the GEO Secretariat Director.
Thank you, Co-Chair. In these closing remarks, my first motion is for thanks. First to our Japan hosts, also to the co-chairs for conducting extremely well the plenary, and foremost to my Secretariat staff. It was my first plenary as Secretariat Director, and I fully now realize the enormous amount of work that the staff does in the plenary. And I commend you, and it's really a pleasure to have, an honor to have such a very dedicated staff working round the clock. So it's really a fantastic team. Really, I'm privileged. I mean, it's in a certain sense that the GEO has evolved to a point where the staff is really committed and knows the best procedures to take on the GEO governance structure. This is very good. And finally, it's the expectation that we're going to work very hard for the ministerial. This is going to be, 2019 is going to be a a tough year, because there are many things happening at once: the new work program, the expert advisory group, the preparation for the ministerial, and the monitoring and evaluation. So we're going to be under stress, and you can really say that it's amazing how the staff works so well, considering the amount of resources we have, that GEO delivers so much. So it's my pleasure to say that we're fully committed for the mandates you have given us, and we hope that this will show as results in the next plenary and in the ministerial.
Thank you, and then I'm going to hand over to the co-chair from the United States of America.
Thank you, Chair. So I want to thank all of the same that Gilberto just mentioned for the excellent running of this plenary. You noted towards the end sort of a lighthearted atmosphere as we made some errors on the charts, which we quickly corrected. I just want to note that that doesn't reflect any frivolity about the importance of what we do, but it does reflect the ease with which we're able to work together. And I think that's important as we struggle through difficult, long days, that we remember that we're all in this together. We're working hard with each other, and we stumble, but we keep going and we support each other. So I'm, as handing over the lead co-chair role to South Africa, committed to helping him in any way to be successful through his year coming ahead. So I note this has been a very successful year with the transition, or a very busy year and successful transition to a new Secretary Director. We've defined today and yesterday new roles for regional GEOs, which recognizes the quality and the capabilities they bring to GEO and starts to depend on those. So burdens them as well with the performance, which is important for us all. A new expanded role for an associate category, which we need to work out again, some details, but again, it expands once more the capabilities of GEO to accommodate and to address the needs of our users. It is ahead of us a very busy year, ensuring progress against some very important things. The assessments that we've started with the work program and the preparations for a new work program for the 20 to 22 period, and the conduct of the midterm evaluation that's coming up, which is an essential part of showing the value of what we do and are we doing the right things in the right way so that we can be a learning and improving organization going forward. So the work that Gilberto just mentioned is a busy year, challenging year, but important so that we can do those self-assessments to make sure that we continuously improve. I must show as we go through this focus that the Secretariat has brought to a new vision of what the new environment we will be living in, that we maintain our focus on delivery, on the products of our work program, the flagships and initiatives and all the other activities, that we have a long baseline of performance and development, that we keep those moving and we do what we can to support the real output of GEO, which is not plenaries and meetings, but the services provided by the work activities that all of us spend so much more time and effort on to make successful. I'm confident that with the shared efforts from the program board and the Secretariat themselves, respecting and supporting the roles of each in this execution, that we should continue to show progress both in the established priorities that we've had and in enabling that vision of a new GEO and GEOS, which looks to a much brighter and more integrated future. So we have to do both at the same time, and I'm confident that we can as we work together. So thank you for everybody's involvement today, and look forward to a very busy year ahead of us.
Thank you so much. The European Commission co-chair.
Thank you very much, and I'm also grateful to everyone, but particularly to our Japanese hosts for their extremely warm and gracious and successful organization of this complex meeting and for hosting us in such a marvelous environment. The European Commission is a long-standing and continuing strong supporter of GEO, and I'm very happy to have had this first opportunity to attend as Commission Principal and Co-Chair. I'm happy that we've been able to discuss considerably during the course of the last 2 days the substance of the work that we're doing, particularly in the three important panel discussions, and that we've resisted very largely the temptation to get bogged down into lengthy discussions about procedure and governance. Like Australia, I'm very much looking forward to the ministerial and hugely grateful for their willingness to host what I'm sure will be a milestone meeting in the life of GEO. I won't repeat what I said earlier about the importance of focusing on results and keeping in mind the broader agenda that we have of the Paris Agreement, the SDGs and the Sendai Framework. But I would like to thank again Gilberto for sharing with us his vision for the future of GEO. And I'm sure I speak for many in saying how much we're looking forward to working with him in translating the noble ambitions that he set out into a practical and workable way ahead. And I think that in doing that, we need to keep in mind the importance of building on the success of what we already have in GEO and what many of us have invested considerable resources and time and effort to achieve, and also to keep in mind that, sometime in the next few months we will have to convince our ministers of the importance of coming to the meeting in Australia, and we will be convincing in doing that if we're able to show them how the emerging systems are able to deliver outcomes and usable results rather than necessarily their technical or technological internal perfection. So I hope that encouraged by this meeting, we can all take back to our home countries a message of optimism and enthusiasm, more convinced than ever of the importance of Earth observation and its huge potential in addressing the global challenges that we face together. Thank you.
Thank you. So we hand over to the Chinese co-chair. Yeah.
尊敬的各位联合主席，卡马拉先生，各位代表，大家下午好。经过2天充实的会议的工作，我们已经圆满完成了GEO第15届全会的议程，修改了议事规则和下一步的发展想法和理念，也明确了面向解决方案的 GEOs 的美好的愿景。会议取得了圆满的成功。我想再次向东道主日本表示诚挚的感谢，对美国联合主席和GEO秘书处为本次会议做出的辛勤的努力和各位代表热情的参与表示衷心的感谢。
Distinguished GEO co-chairs, Mr. Gilberto Camara, representatives, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Thanks to the solid efforts in the past 2 days, we have completed all the agenda items of the 15th plenary session, and we have revised the rules, the terms of reference of the GEO, and we shared constructive thoughts and ideas for GEO development, and outlined a bright prospect of a result-oriented GEOs. The plenary has come to a successful conclusion with objectives fulfilled. And on behalf of China GEO, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude again to the host Japan GEO and to the US co-chair and the secretary for their hard work, and to all the delegates for your participation.
在新的一年里，中国将继续认真履行联合主席的责任，继续对 GEO 做出新的贡献。我们也十分期待恩布尼莫菲先生作为2019年轮值主席优秀的工作，并将全力的支持明年在澳大利亚举行的第16届全会和第5次部长级的峰会。
In the year of 2019, China will continue to perform its duty as GEO co-chair and strive for increasing its contribution to GEO. I very much look forward to the work of Mr. Mumboneni Mofi as the next lead co-chair, and that China will fully support the 16th Plenary and 15th Ministerial Summit to be held in Australia next year.
本月的19号到21号，由联合国全球地理信息管理这个组织举办世界地理信息大会，将会在中国的德清地理信息小镇召开。届时呢 ，GEO 也将举办分会等活动，欢迎大家到中国访问参加这次会议。谢谢大家。
From 19th to 21st this month, the UN GIM World Geospatial Information Congress will be held in Deqing Geo-Information Town in China. GEO will also organize a session at that time. You are all welcome to visit China, and thank you.
Thank you so much, and I think we will all continue to thank Japan for the successful hosting of this plenary and all the activities of the week under the banner of the GEO Week 2018. I want to also thank my fellow co-chairs for the work that has been done. I think in the build-up since the beginning of the year through the first EXCO up until today, including the support that you have given to me to make sure that this becomes a successful plenary. I really want to extend the gratitude to you all as the delegates to this plenary, representing your various organizations, your countries, your regions, and your states, that I feel that the contributions that you have made, both in terms of the engagements that were happening here, but also we appreciate the fact that you coming here and contributing is actually a result of the work that you have been doing behind the scenes throughout the year in support of the work of GEO. So we thank you for that. The Secretariat and under the leadership of the Director, Gilberto, and we want to again thank you for the hard work that we have seen. There have been a lot of reflection on the level of the quality of the document and also the timing of the release of such documents. So we want you to keep the good work. We've got a very busy year ahead. It's going to be very busy. We have had a number of things that we need to do. Firstly, in terms of the preparations for the ministerial, the preparations of the 3-year program for the second decade. We have also presented here the timeframes for the evaluation, which means it's going to be something that we're going to need to start immediately as well. We also need to continue to mobilize resources for GEO, and I think this is really the assignment that we need to continue to embark on. Let us really continue to move on those 3 levels of our activities, which is really just us being able to engage, being able to make sure that all the stakeholders within GEO are actually consistently engaged to add value to the work of GEO. We really want to say that we are also going to be starting to work in earnest with the GRAS to make sure that we sort out the issues that have been raised around the associate category, so that we can probably resolve the issues that have been raised and move forward with the new categories, making sure that it doesn't really infringe on any other privileges and conditions that the current structures and governance issues have. I think from me it's thank you, goodbye. We meet each other in Canberra, those who are only participating in the plenary, and then very early in the year for those who are in the program boards and in the executive committee. And I think every week or every month with the secretariat and the director will be engaging. So thank you, everybody. I'm just going to hand over to the Japan GEO principal to have the last word. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. It's my honor to deliver some closing remarks. I would like to express my great appreciation for the very practical discussions over these past 2 days. GEO has been developing constantly and has been contributed to provide many practical solutions as well as fruitful scientific output for a variety of global issues. Since the first Earth Observation Summit held in 2003, when the original concept of GEO was proposed, I believe that GEO will continue to be an intergovernmental organization and to contribute to create a future. We, GEO, are required to constantly respond to the social request and to introduce innovative ideas, science and technology. We should consider GEO-evolution as a responsible intergovernmental body to address the global changes. We very much look forward to making own effort to take a step forward to meet challenges. At the end of my remarks, I would like to express our sincere appreciation to GEO co-chairs for leading fruitful discussions, GEO members and participating organizations for contributing discussions, GEO Secretariat Director and GEO Secretariat for their effort to organize this plenary session. I'm looking forward to seeing you again next year in Australia. Thank you very much. ありがとうございました。